What's up YouTube? My name is Chad. This is the Wisco Boater channel. I'm up on my Regal Clifford for the weekend by myself to do a couple of projects. The one big project that I'm going to do, the plan is to remove this stereo, which is a Kenwood car stereo. Works great, but I want Bluetooth capability. So the plan for today is to install this Rockville marine stereo. This is a weather-resistant stereo, which is round rather than square. So the biggest part of this project, I believe, is going to be, after I get this pulled out, making a circle here and then figuring out how to fill the holes that are going to be left behind. So let's get started by pulling out the head. I'm going to wire it first to make sure that it works, and then I'll work on getting the hole cut. All right, I'm gonna try to get a few things done this morning before I go look at another boat. I might be able to show you that. Not sure yet. Depends on how the owner feels about being videoed. But I'm still shopping for a bigger boat. We haven't yet decided what type of boat we're going to go to next and when that actually will be, but I'm going to look at a Carver 3607 this morning in 1988. It's a trawler style boat. We're still not completely sold on having a trawler yet, so we still might look at bigger express cruisers, but that's a topic for another video. So the first thing I'm going to do this morning is work on getting the head pulled out. I've got about an hour right now. So circuit breaker off. I'm gonna pull the face off, and then you use these little keys. They're Kenwood stereo keys, and they're supposed to slide in. Oh, got to take the faceplate off. So let's see how this works. I believe they slide in right like that, right like that. Got to get it hooked on the pull tab back there. According to videos I've watched, this is supposed to be fairly easy, but I'm not having any luck getting this to catch the little tab back there. This one feels like it wants to catch. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of a different approach here. These keys, these are aftermarket keys, and I just looked at another video, and the keys that should pull a Kenwood car stereo out have these little tangs on both sides, so they kind of look like this. These obviously don't. So pulled the DC breaker panel off, shut the batteries off, unplug the boat from shore power, so there's no power to the boat at all right now. So what I'm going to try to do is get up inside here and see if I can pry these tangs out from the inside. I don't know how they work though, that's the only problem. I think I know about where they're at. If I take these and switch them around and make that key look correct, I can slide this in and get this side free. See, this side is free now. Now getting to this side is proving to be difficult though. It would be nice if it just slid out like it's supposed to. Maybe if I get this jammed in here so it doesn't slide back in. stops, I can slide into this side to release those tangs. And this kind of sucks because these keys are so sharp. Can I get this one to release? I'm pretty sure I can feel where the tang is. Part of the problem is I got my watch on here and it's in the way and going to get scratched. All right, success. There we go. Not a whole lot of slack on the wiring harness here, but all right, that is a good first step. Here, and I'll show you what it looks like inside there, just so you know what you're looking for if you too are having problems with aftermarket keys. This right here is what the keys were sliding in to catch. So you can see there's a, if I can get the camera to focus, there's a lip right there and one right there. So those keys go in and push that away, and then it releases them. So because I was able to get access through the open hole here, I was able to get this screwdriver jammed in here to push that one open, and then go up from underneath this way with that other key to get that out. So, all right, time to unplug it and take a look at the new radio. All right, as I said, this is a Rockville Marine stereo, RGH R2 with Bluetooth. And this stereo actually had installed in another boat a couple of years ago. Works great. The Bluetooth feature is very nice to have. I put this in the Glastron SSV 167, which is this boat right here. When I redid it, I took one of the gauges that was unnecessary for the boat, and during the restoration, this fit in perfectly, which is why I bought a round head. But since I sold that boat, I took the radio out and just figured I'd keep it on hand just in case someday I might have another boat that I could put the stereo in, and here we are. All right, so there's the wiring bundle. It'd be awesome if those plugs match those plugs. It's probably unlikely, but let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, we've got a set of instructions here on which wire is which. They are also all labeled for what they do. So I think what I might do is just cut these wires, because these plugs are not the same as these. You can see those are 1, 2, 3, 8 position, probably Molex. These are probably Molex as well, but this is a 9 position, and that one is a 6, so they will not match up. But all these wires are labeled off the back of the Kenwood stereo as well. So I'm just going to cut these wires off and then match them up to the wires on here, splice them together, and we should have a voila moment. Debating on whether or not to keep this connector, because I have these connectors here will allow for the radio to come out. I hate to clip the wires here and sacrifice this, but because these are all already clipped, I don't know. I'm struggling on what to do here. It's just too bad that this plug is different than this plug, because that would be super easy. I think I'm just gonna end up cutting all the wires right here. I'm gonna cut this connector off for sure, and then cut it off here. So this is gonna go to waste. Well, maybe I'll cut a little bit of a bundle so I don't know, I'll figure it out here in a second. I made a decision on where to cut these wires. I did cut the plugs off of the new radio, and I'm going to use the old plugs that are already in the boat here, just because it's easier. There's no reason to have two connectors. Just adds more failure points. I tell people this all the time in my professional career, doing avionics and electrical work on airplanes, that more connections just mean more problems. So eliminating that connector and just going with the single connector is what I decided. I got splices on those two plugs, and I'm going to splice everything together outside of the mounting location, make sure it all works, and then all I have to do is unplug the wires in order to cut the hole right there for the radio to be installed. But I'm going to make sure it works first. So time to connect some wires, and then we'll power this thing up. All right, everything's wired up. I got the boat plugged back in, so I'll turn shore power back on, turn the converter on. I don't have a red light. The green light is very hard to see during the day. I've got this covered up because there is power there. So we'll go under here, turn the stereo on, power. All right. Got it. Let's go. I don't know. Oh, that's preset channels. There we go, manual. Sweet. All right, let's get that turned off before I get copyrighted on music. But everything seems to be working, so now I'm gonna unplug it, and I'll cut the hole out right here and work on getting it mounted, and we'll get all this put back together, and we have a new stereo installed. Time to cut. Where'd the blade go? Did I just lose a freaking blade? Well, that's not good. Have to retrieve that later. Guess I didn't have it in there right. I'm going to clean up real quick, and then we'll come back to install this. So as you can see, the stereo is in place. I've got the bracket back here, and one thing I really didn't consider before coming up here this weekend was to have the filler blocks ready, because the bracket has to attach horizontally. I can't mount it vertically, if that makes sense. Here, I can show you. Like this. And it obviously has to come forward and mount to something. And right now, if it comes all the way forward, it's just going to hit the radio, and it's still just going to be loose. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is use my cutouts up inside there to give it something to clamp onto. And then I'll measure and make the appropriate filler pieces to go in place there, and I replace those at another weekend visit. But for now, just going to use these, and we'll get this thing working today. And here we have the radio installed. Everything's working great. You can see the temporary pieces that I put in here just to hold the radio in place. As I said, I didn't really think about it, but I also wasn't really sure how to do it without putting this in, making these filler plates without putting this in first, because I'm gonna have to take some measurements to get the distance between either side here. So I will figure out something that looks good and fill those in. But for now, the radio is in place, installed, working great. So the only thing I haven't yet figured out how to do is wiring for the remote head, which I'm going to try to mount up at the helm. But routing this up through the ceiling here over to the helm is going to take a little bit of head scratching to figure out. But all right, well, a couple weeks have gone by and we're back on the boat. I got the stainless steel plate installed on the stereo. Everything works great again. And their stereo on, got power, and that's loud. I left a little bit of a gap here, and I'm going to take some decorative hemp rope and wrap around that just to make it look kind of neat when it's fully installed. So, but that's basically the finished version right there. I also did run the cable for the remote. I don't know how I'm going to route this yet, but I've got it coming through here, and the remote power head is right here. I've already plugged it in and checked it, works fine. So I just need to figure out how to route that wiring, probably up to the helm station. I thought about maybe mounting it back under the outdoor sink, the cockpit galley here, but I think getting the wire from here through all of this to the back is going to be more difficult than it's worth, because the liquor cabinet here would have to come out. I'd have to unseal it. Same thing for the cooler cabinet, just to get the wires through. So I think I'm going to try to figure out a way to just run this wire maybe down along here and then up this and then over to the helm, so I'll have a remote control from the helm. So that's it. Stereo's installed, all good. Thanks for watching this episode of the Wisco Boater channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and send me some comments if you like. Hit that little notification bell if you want to be notified next time I post a video. So we'll see you next time. Happy boating, everybody.